Okay, today we are going to be reviewing the halachas of mincha and Shabbos and Siman Reish Adi Beis in a very organized way. If we don't finish it today, we're not in a rush. We're going to finish it tomorrow. We're going to do it properly. The review is going to be going through the uh, really around 10 pages of notes that I took in a very organized way on this siman. We had 10 sessions that we learned the siman on. It required a lot of diligence and patience and discipline. And this is basically the table of contents that is screen sharing over here. This is nice also. This is the new version of Word, not the 2010 version anymore. So it actually is better. Um, so we
Oh,
have over here of Shabbos Mincha. We're going to discuss an introduction. Should the Chazan wear a talis or not, and when would he? Why do we say Uval Tzion during Mincha on Shabbos? Not Shachris, so we say Uval Tzion Shachris. We're going to discuss the Kaddish in between Uval Tzion and Vanis Vilasi. We're going to discuss Vanis Vilasi, laning, reading from the Torah. Is there an obligation to wait until Mincha time to say Ashrei Uval Tzion and lane? That was a hot topic in the Simon. Interesting one. Kaddish in between laning and Shemona Esrei, and all of the questions that revolve around that, Shemona Esrei in general. Someone who didn't have in Mincha or said a weekday Shemona Esrei, what do you do? Is Shemona Esrei more important than laning? Sid Kascha after Shemona Esrei, when would you say it? When would you not? You messed up and you didn't say it when you're supposed to. Is it permissible to learn in between Mincha and Ma'ariv on Shabbos? And then Pirkei Avos. Pirkei Avos, we're going to discuss when should we learn Avos? Why is there custom to learn Avos between Pesach and Shavuos? Why is there custom to learn Avos specifically after Mincha?
Didn't we touch on why we do the Shir Hamalos in the non-summer months? We mentioned something about that, didn't we?
What?
You know, how there's mincha, after mincha, you see all these Shir Hamalos afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did we touch upon that? I thought we mentioned something about that, like why is
A little bit, yeah, that was in the Rama, especially in the winter. And then miscellaneous is going to discuss a few random points, such as not wishing people good Shabbos, about the end of Shabbos after sunset. So this is basically the table of contents. Introduction is the Torah says that on Shabbos, he already found an error. There aren't going to be so many errors, I don't think. That's error number one. Torah says that on Shabbos Mincha, the Chazan says Asher Yuval and Kaddish. Rama adds that Vanis Filasi is said. We're going to see why. This is just the introduction. The Chazan then takes out the Torah from the Aron. Mishnah Berurah says that we say Kaddish in between Uval and Vanis Filasi. Magen Avraham and Mishnah Berurah ruled that we do not say Vanis Filasi on Yom Tov. However, we say Vanis Filasi on Shabbos, even if there is no Torah, and we are davening by ourselves. I would say that this is the only thing in here that people don't know about. Everything before, right? We pretty much know. If there's no Torah, you still say Vanis Filasi, and even if you're davening by yourself.
I go about when we said before that Anis is an ace rot, so you should wait till the Aron's open
Yes,
for it.
preferably,
It's a preferable thing,
preferably.
not that
Right,
totally only.
right.
Okay.
I mean, most people are davening with the minyan on Shabbos that are davening mincha on Shabbos. If you're not davening with the minyan, you probably don't care enough to daven anyways. So, right.
wait, what's it?
But
Wait, no, it's not. Let's say it's a chola.
what'd you say?
A chola. Someone like
A
saying,
cola, yeah, that could happen if someone's sick, if they have extenuating circumstances. Correct. Look, this is applicable. So that's what I'm just saying. If to take out from everything that we did, this is the one insight, so to say. Should a chazan wear a talus? So there's basically different customs about that. The chazan should wear a talus or not. There are many customs to have actually probably half a dozen features on this new word that I really like.
Right?
Like
It's
like
clear. It
like
looks
when you have a
clear.
word over here, talisim in Hebrew, and the spell check doesn't get it, you could just click it. You don't need to right click, and then you click on this thing, which is add to dictionary, and then it will never correct that again.
But wait, it's
They have
spelled
all
no, but
these
it's.
subtle features that make it very nice.
All right.
I think sometimes we spell it differently. No,
What'd you
is
say?
it? Don't we
Oh, talus.
Talisim?
No, sorry, talus, not talisim.
No, we
Talus.
say Taliesin.
No,
No,
this is
but no, even
talus.
in plural. In plural, no, isn't it? Wouldn't it be
Don't
Talisim?
worry about it.
All
The
right,
point
whatever.
is that, sausage doesn't get, but the real thing that it does good is sometimes if you use like in order to, it will say like one word that shortens the whole thing.
Hmm.
Like it automatically corrects your English, not just words. It's very good. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of wearing a talus,
Yeah.
anything that we didn't touch upon was if you're wearing a talus, so cover the
Um,
laning.
Okay, let's go through
yeah,
it.
you want
There are different customs regarding the chazan wearing a talus during Shabbos mincha. Some say that you should wear a talus in honor of laning. Okay, according to this, chazanim do not need to wear talesim. So this is the word you didn't like, David. During mincha on Yom Tov. Some say that the chazan should only wear a talus on Yom Tov. Others say that the chazan doesn't need to wear a talus. Some say that the chazan should put his talus on after saying Kaddish, after Uvalatzion, but before saying Va'anis Filasi. Never seen anyone do that before. Others say that the Chazan probably should wear a talus, should wear a talus the entire time. Whatever one does is legitimate. Okay, I put in the footnote, that's why I bolded this. This seems to be the custom for the Chazan to wear it the entire time. Some places you see they don't. Whatever you do is legit.
Did you ever see anywhere in terms of if you put on a talus, let's say for an aliyah,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
one should not take it off till after davening because it covered the
We're,
talus
we're
and it's
yeah
covering
we're
both.
gonna we're gonna learn about that when
you put your toes on for an aliyah, and then what
yeah,
happens?
for the Aliyah we discussed that. If I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, it's actually in Siman Yud Dalet or Tezvav. There's I think it was a Shari Ephraim over there. It's a discussion where you take the talus from. That's a major discussion. Minhag is people remove it right after. The idea is, in short, from what I remember from 12 years ago or so. It's so funny. I was just looking at all my notes. I broke down all of my notes right over here into 16 different Word documents. The ones in English, at least. These are really 16 different Svardim that I'm working on. And because Microsoft Word, I think that's what messed up my last laptop. They can't handle documents that are 1,400 pages with 5,000 footnotes. It's going to overload. Based on what I saw, it shouldn't even be more than 400 pages. So I split it up now into 16 sections. Um, and it's very funny because if you look at the halacha, when you break down the notes on halacha, it's only around 600 pages on halacha. I mean, it's growing constantly. But in English, I have hundreds and hundreds of pages of notes in Hebrew. But there's nothing on Chelik Aleph, which I think I have the most expertise on
Hmm.
Chelik Aleph. Have learned it very well. But in short, we're gonna do it again properly. I have to write it up. This is one of the farm I want to produce. Chelik Aleph. But in short, you can have in mind that the talents that you have that you're gonna borrow, you're not gonna acquire. You're not gonna acquire. You borrow from someone else. Let's say, not the shuls. Or you have in mind it's totally ownerless. You have no part in it whatsoever. And then you wouldn't say the bracha, coupled with the fact that you're just wearing it for kavod tzibur anyways. And that's the custom, not to say a bracha on it. That's
That's
what I've
it,
seen.
and also
Yes.
not to take it off right away. There's no Indian of keeping
No.
it on.
No, because if you're not saying a bracha, then you purposely shouldn't keep it on longer. The whole reason why someone would keep it on, if they would hold that maybe they would make a bracha, then you wear it longer.
So I just know somebody who was very,
Maybe he says a
sensitive
bracha.
about. No, he didn't say the bracha. He was just very sensitive about that Indian. I'm saying
I don't know
I
why
thought
he
that
would
there
keep
was.
it on, which would be on the contrary.
Said it's not
If you're not saying a
covered in
bracha,
talus.
I don't know what's the source for that.
Okay,
You're
yeah, I was
wearing
just
you're wearing
asking.
it. We'll have to learn about that more. Okay, that's Talus. Okay, so far a slow start to the review, which is fine. Clarity is the key. Why do we say Uvalut Sion during Mincha and Shabbos and not Shachris? I actually really wanted to review this because
That's some good stuff.
yeah, this is good stuff. The reason that I mean, off the top of my head, what reasons I remember? The reason that sticks out is Tircha de Tzibura, right? But there were other reasons. Does anybody remember the other reasons? That's why we're doing review. We say Ashrei during Shabbos Mincha, just like during Mincha during the week. Why do we say Uvalat Sion during Mincha and Shabbos and not Shachris? Mishnah Berurah explains that we say Uvalat Sion during Mincha instead of Shachris and Shabbos in order not to make Shachris and Musaf longer. The source of this Mishnah Berurah is a kolbo. The kolbo says, I'm becoming such a fan, by the way, and student of the kolbo. He's just so incredible. So much insight in that sefer. It's incredible, and most people never heard of it. Kolbo says that we don't say Uvalat Sion during Shachris and Shabbos because it is a burden for the congregation. Torah Chatzibor, or what's commonly known as Tircha Tzibur. The rabbis didn't want to make it difficult for older people, pregnant and nursing women, by delaying the davening by making it longer. The rabbis didn't want them to fast. I didn't write it over here, but I think that this whole concept, you know, we saw this Kobo inside also. We looked it up inside. It's a PDF file on it. I think that this reason is very questionable because number one, most pregnant and nursing women aren't in shul. Here's the Kobo. Right over here. Most pregnant nursing women aren't in shul to begin with. Especially if you already have a kid, women aren't coming to shul.
They're waiting for the father to
Young women, there's no groups for them.
But they're waiting
Okay,
for them.
fine. So now that's so good. So that was going to be the next issue. So you're going to say they're fasting. Why would they fast? They eat. They could eat before,
Okay.
right? First of all, if they don't need to make kiddush if their husband didn't daven shachar shmona esrei yet. Even if they did, they're capable of making kiddush. It's a very pure gafin. It's nothing fancy. So I don't know. I don't know. Unless the Kobo was assuming that they weren't going to make kiddush before their husband came back to eat a lot, to come in with an appetite, and I don't know. Reason two, Sefer Amanik points out that we say Uvalat Sion during Shachris during the week and Mincha during Shabbos, we know. The final redemption will happen during the day. The main redemption will occur during the morning time. Okay? Mincha in general is an auspicious time, Eis Ratzon. Thank you. Is an auspicious time, Eis Ratzon, and Eliyahu was only answered during Mincha. We say Uvalat Sion specifically during Mincha and Shabbos because it's an auspicious time, and in the merit of Shabbos we will be redeemed. In other words, final redemption. There you go. So in other words, the final redemption will be during the day, during morning. But Mincha is an auspicious time. Eliyahu was an answer during Mincha. And also with Shabbos, you'll get it on Shabbos.
Can we say
But morning also has significance, so that answer also requires.
Isn't Mashiach not supposed to come on Shabbos or Reb Shabbos?
Yes, correct. On Shabbos.
On Shabbos shouldn't be
This
coming.
is the Sefer Amanik. I don't know if a PDF file was made on this. I looked this up though. I didn't make a file. I looked it up. Answer 3, Lakute Hapardes. I think that's Rashi. Authored by Rashi. authored by Rashi, quotes, it's also good with the new word. You could get synonyms on words even if you don't have internet access.
That was around 2010.
The old 2010, you need internet access for synonyms.
Interesting.
Synonyms are nice.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Likutei HaPardes has a feature. If you leave in the middle of a page and you exit after you save, when you open the file, you could touch the side, it'll pick up from that page.
Does this have the AI that lets you
I don't know. I don't mess with that. Yeah,
no,
it probably
fixes
does.
your paragraphs or whatever.
Probably does. I don't touch AI. I don't want them messing with this. Likutei HaPardes quotes Rabbi Yitzchak Semech Gon, who says that the enactment was because the Jewish enemies, who says that there was an enactment from the Jewish enemies forbidding saying Kedusha in davening. Therefore, at the end of davening, they left, and the Jews were able to say Kedusha. Custom developed to say Uvalat Tzion during mincha and Shabbos in order to commemorate this. I mean, that's an interesting reason. It's not well known. See in order to, it puts 3 dots under this. Then you could click on it and it'll say the custom developed to say Uvalat Tzion during mincha and Shabbos to commemorate this.
Why is it in bold? Are they bold?
That's words. Yeah, but it's a practical reason.
Okay.
Here. Therefore, the end of davening, the left, comma, and the Jews. You know, these are good reasons to remember, I think.
The first reason, though, why is
Yeah.
the Tircha Tzibur for the people, stam the people in the congregation? We're just talking about the pregnant and nursing women.
Yeah, that's also another question that could be asked on this call. Yeah. It's so interesting that this is the reason that the Mishnah Berurah chose, and yet it's so questionable. And yet this is what we do every week.
He dafka, the Vision River dafka quoted the part about the pregnant and nursing women. It just says the Tircha Tzibur.
Yeah, I think so.
I forgot.
Yeah, it's, Yusuf al-Tzim b'mincha b'makom seri kedusha d'chol b'shabbos shemarichin harbe b'shachas mosafin yichu ad mincha. She said because it was long, they left it until mincha.
So he's even though saying it's for
Kolba.
but he's making it sound like it's for everybody. It's not just the.
Correct, it is.
It is, yeah. So it makes according to Mishpur, it's for everybody.
The real question on this is why it's permissible to add aliyahs then on Shabbos.
I was just thinking.
We're gonna see
According to those
we're gonna learn
later.
We're gonna learn later.
I was just thinking that.
This, by the way, this is really all fake Hilchah Shabbos because
It's not the meat and potatoes of Malach.
no, exactly. It's not the malachas, but it's equally as important.
That's great stuff.
Yeah. I don't know equally, but it's very important. Okay. Next section, Kaddish in between Uvalat Tziyun and Vanis Vilasi. Mishnah Berurah says that we say Kaddish in between. That we say Kaddish after Uvalat Tziyun and before Vanis Vilasi. I mean, the reason is because it's the end of a section. You're bridging to a next section. Okay. Vanis Vilasi. Mishnah Berurah says that we do not say Vanis Vilasi during Yom Tov Mincha. Someone who doesn't have a Torah and davens Shabbos Mincha by himself should say Vanis Vilasi, like we saw in the introduction. Shulchan Aruch in Hilchos Yom Kippur says that we do not say Vanis Vilasi when Yom Kippur falls on Shabbos. Do we need to stand for Vanis Vilasi? Or Shulchan says that we don't need to stand for Vanis Vilasi. The custom of standing resulted because everyone was standing because of Kaddish beforehand. It's pointless to sit for a few seconds because everyone needs to stand immediately after when they remove the Torah. Others argue and say that we need to stand for Vanis Vilasi since it is a very special prayer that awakens Hashem's mercy. So just stand. The Kobalim say that the main time to say Vanis Vilasi is when the Aron is open. Therefore, even though the custom is to say Vanis Vilasi immediately after Kaddish, before the Aron is open. Nevertheless, it's correct to wait until the Aron is open to say Vanis Filasi and to say it with a lot of concentration. So, in short, um, you know, say Vanis Filasi standing to cover all opinions and wait till the Aron Kodesh is open to say Vanis Filasi. That is a very relevant halacha.
I don't want to say bearing on it, but we say on the philosophy on Yom Tov, right, when it's not Shabbos and no one's open, we say,
On Yontif,
yeah, Yom Tov, right? We say what's it called?
that's in Shachris.
When we open up the oven.
That's Shachris.
I understand that, but I'm saying you see.
Yes, correct,
Okay, then
correct, correct, correct. I left out over here. You know what I left out on Vanis Filasi? The Torah's explanation as to why we say it in general on Shabbos. Right? Mishnah Brew also quoted that. Because when we eat and drink, we praise Hashem.
Oh, yeah, that whole medrash.
They're not
Yeah,
paichas. I left it out. Laning during Shabbos mincha. During Shabbos, you don't need. During Shabbos mincha, Monday and Thursday, we read from the Torah and have exactly 3 aliyahs, with a minimum of 10 psukim. We do not have a haftorah. During Shabbos mincha, we read minimally 10 psukim from the upcoming parsha. Shulchan Aruch says that if Yom Tov falls out on Shabbos, okay, so we learn about the upcoming parsha. Okay, we learn about the upcoming parsha. Mar says that Leini Mincha on Shabbos was enacted by Ezra for the Yoshvei Karanas. Who are Yoshvei Karanas? The Rosh says that Yoshvei Karanas were people who had jobs during the week and weren't able to hear Leini on Mondays and Thursdays. Okay, what word ones is this one? I don't think it knows because it doesn't know what Leini is. Couldn't, weren't able to. See, it's much better English. Were people who had jobs during the week and couldn't. I just realized now here is spelled wrong. Here laning on Mondays and Thursdays. Aruch says that Yoshvi Karanos wouldn't come to the base medrash to learn. Rather, they would sit by the corners and converse all day. Piskei Rid and Meiri explain that after some people eat and drink on Shabbos, they talk about nothing of importance since they can't work, and so therefore enacted to hear some Torah during Shabbos Mincha in order that people will gather in shul and be involved with productive pursuits. Siddur Harash Migarmiza adds that the enactment was in order that people come to shul to hear Leni and then they would hear the drasha. There was no Torah and they davened Shemona Esrei and then got a Torah. They should read from it then. The half Kaddish should be said after this Leni because you can't rely on the Kaddish you're going to say before Shemona Esrei because you already said Shemona Esrei, so you need a Kaddish after. Someone who came late to shul, someone who came to shul late Shabbos mincha and missed laning is not obligated to walk to another shul in order to hear laning. Shabbos mincha laning is not an obligation that is placed on every individual. Rather, Shabbos mincha laning was enacted by Ezra for the Yoshvei Karanos. Therefore, someone who missed laning isn't obligated to walk somewhere else to hear laning. If the wrong parsha, okay, new halacha. If the wrong parsha was laned, they would still fill their obligation according to some poskim, since they fulfilled Ezra's enactment and read from the Torah. Even so, if they remembered before the completion of 3 aliyos, the correct parsha should be laned with the remaining aliyos. Others argue and hold that they would not fulfill their obligation. Is there an obligation to wait until mincha time to say Ashrei Uvalatzion and Lain? Charles Chuvas Minchas Yitzchak rules that in a pressing situation one can lane after halachic midday, even though it is before 6.5 halachic hours into the day, aka is before the earliest time one could have a mincha. He offers proofs would demonstrate that that laning needs to be after halachic midday. Accordingly, laning isn't part of mincha, rather it is independent. But it was enacted to be done during mincha. It should be pointed out that this ruling was made by mincha laning on a fast day, but this ruling would apply on Shabbos also. Charles and Tshuva Sitali others discusses if it is permissible to begin Ashrei Valatzion, also Vanis Filasi, and lane before the time to have a mincha. It could be that this is permissible because the proper time to daven mincha only applies to Shmona Esrei itself. However, Sitz Eliezer rules that one should not lane. That already added a lane to the dictionary. One should not lane before the time to daven mincha. One also shouldn't say Ashrei Uvalatzion, here it is, and the pasuk of Anis Filasi before mincha time. That was too big to fit in the title, so I left out Anis Filasi. I try to never make it more than one line. What is the reason for this ruling? The Gemara relates that during Shabbos mincha, that laning during Shabbos mincha was an enactment from Ezra because of the Yoshvi Karanos, as we already know. Rashi explains that these were people who had stores. During the week, they were busy and weren't able to hear laning on Mondays and Thursdays. Ezra therefore established that there will be an extra laning on Shabbos so that these people could attend and listen. Shita Mikubetzes, see also Meiri, says that Yoshvi Karanos would sit and drink during mincha time on Shabbos. Ezra enacted that they should go to shul and hear laning. According to the Shita Mikubetzes, laning certainly needs to be during mincha time. Rather, even according to Rashi, laning needs to be done during mincha time because that was the time when it was enacted to lane. Furthermore, earlier is the time for laning Shabbos morning, not mincha laning. It is implied from a Mishnah that laning before mincha time is considered laning before one is obligated. Eliezer continues to explain why Ashrei and Avalatzion and Venis Vilasi shouldn't be said before mincha time. Okay, so the answer is you shouldn't
So
start.
B'shas
first
HaChak,
and
you're
hours.
afraid people are gonna leave. You won't have a minyan, and it's hard for people, and maybe, I'm talking like a Lubavitch situation, a Chabad situation, right? If you don't start early enough, people start seeing, you see this slipping out by the meal,
5 minute difference, something 10 minutes.
you know, it sometimes makes a
Maybe
difference.
I don't know. To consistently
We're not
allows
talking about,
to consistently allow something that is not preferable. Is really shouldn't be done. Once in a while, whatever.
I'm saying once in a while, yeah, not every
Once in a
week. Let's say,
while.
the Zmanim sometimes don't work out so well.
Once in a
I
while.
don't understand the situation we're speaking about.
I'm talking about if you in the winter, if when mincha starts at 12:15, so if they're gonna make a kiddush and then a type of a quick luncheon,
Oh, and people
and
weren't
people
going
are
to come
gonna go
back.
home, could you start it earlier every single week?
The winter's not a problem, they
I'm
don't
very
close
hesitant.
shopping.
I'm trying to say I don't like it, right? So
There's no problem in the summer.
more a problem in the summer when you have to wait till 1:30,
Let's say
right?
Miami, maybe 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Yeah, to do it every week, I don't like it.
I hear.
Kaddish in between laning and Shemona Esrei. Page 5. Okay, let's rush through this. Beis Yosef quotes Shibuli Aleket, who says that we always say Kaddish after laning, except for Shabbos Mincha, and a fast that doesn't have Haftorah since there is no interruption of Haftorah. Oz Vahadim Mishnah Brura explains that we don't say Kaddish without saying psukim beforehand, except for Kaddish after Shemona Esrei, because the opening line of Kaddish discusses making Hashem's name great and holy, which is only happens through the written Torah, which is the main part of the Torah. In order to say Kaddish, one needs to say minimally one mizmor or three psukim. Kaddish Derabanan could be said after a drasha or after someone learns Torah, Shabbal Peh, the oral Torah. It was established to say Chatzi Kaddish or a half Kaddish anytime something is completed and there are psukim. For example, at the end of Psukkah de Zimra. After Ashrei, during Mincha, we say Kaddish because it is an independent matter. The Gemara states that anyone who says Ashrei thrice daily will be guaranteed the next world. That means that you say it with the proper intention. Ashrei needs to be said with special intent in order to merit the next world, not merely saying the words. Footnote 23, a lot to discuss there. Kaddish is said after laning because laning is an independent mitzvah. Kaddish, after saying psukim, is always said before Shemona Esrei because the Mishnah says that we only daven with within a serious state. Suddenly davening Shemona Esrei, or immediately, I think, davening Shemona Esrei would thus be lacking this seriousness. This is why Kaddish is said before Shemona Esrei, except for Shachris, because we need to immediately daven Shemona Esrei after saying Shema and the brachas of Shema. Tzmichas Gula Tefillah. Mishnah Berurah says that we never say Kaddish during Mincha as opposed to Ma'ariv when it's more lenient, the Tzmichas Gula Tefillah. Mishnah Berurah says that we never say Kaddish during Mincha by the Bima on Shabbos or a fast day. Rather, Kaddish is said by the Amoreke where the Chazan davens. This Kaddish covers laning also. Why can't Kaddish be said by the Bima after laning? Then Kaddish by the Amud before Shemona Esrei can't be said, since there is an interruption between the Kadeshim. Why isn't Yahalalu, David Mizmor, and Ubenucho considered an interruption? Why isn't that considered an interruption? Mishnah Berurah answers that Yahalu is a considered interruption because one pasuk is a considered interruption, three or more psukim is an interruption. Mishnah Berurah answers that L'David Mizmor is an interruption because we don't say it from the letter of the law, rather it is a custom. Shari Ephraim answers that Ubenucho isn't considered an interruption because it consists of gathered psukim. Shalos and Chuvas Beis Dino Shel Shlomo offers another answer as to why these aren't interruptions. Anything that is part of the order of tefillah and day isn't considered interruption. However, something that isn't part of the day is an interruption, and Kaddish should be said. For example, Shachos and Shabbos, we say Kaddish immediately after laning because we say Ashrei afterwards. Ashrei is an interruption since the only reason we say it is in order that there is a delay. Ashrei isn't part of the order of davening. This is why we say another Kaddish after Ashrei. This is by Musaf, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Chadesh, yeah. Kirkedim, Yiskadesh, Meira, right? Why can't Kaddish be said after laning by the Bima, and then after the Torah is put away, begin Shemona Esrei immediately without another Kaddish? Mishnah Berurah answers that question. Kaddish must always be immediately before Shemona Esrei in order to begin Shemona Esrei with a serious state, within a serious state as stated above. Kaddish is after laning Shachris. Kaddish is said after laning Shachris because Ashrei is said after, which enables another Kaddish to be said. Mishnah Berurah says that based on all of this, if there's no Torah during Shabbos Mincha, then there is no interruption between Kaddish after Ashrei and Oval Tzion to the Kaddish before Shemona Esrei. Only one Kaddish should be said after Oval Tzion. In this case, the pasuk of Anit Velosi should be said before Kaddish in order that there won't be an interruption between Kaddish and Shemona Esrei. Lastly, Nishma Shabbos says that if the Baal Koreh made a mistake and said Kaddish after laning, if Yahalun, David, and Benucha were said, then Kaddish should be said again. When we did this, not on the review, I seemed to say the other way that it shouldn't be said, but it seems like it probably should be said. The reason for this ruling is the rabbis didn't act to Kaddishim because there is no official interruption that the rabbis established. However, if this occasionally happens, then why should they lose out on saying Kaddish immediately before Shemona Esrei? Furthermore, Lavush says that Kaddish should be said before Shemona Esrei in order that everyone knows when to start Shemona Esrei. Avujam rules this way also. Yabet says that Kaddish should not be said again because it says Tirchot Tzibur, burning the congregation by extending davening. This is why if a congregation has extenuating circumstance and interrupts between laning and Shemona Esrei, or they go to daven Shemona Esrei somewhere else, Kaddish should be purposely said after laning. Kaddish should then certainly be repeated before Shemona Esrei. It's correct to say a parak before Kaddish again. If you look in the footnote 28 over here, Pitzke Chuvas rules that Kaddish should not be said again. Also, he does say that those who say Kaddish again have who to rely on. That's why I basically said, just say Kaddish again in this. If a mistake was made, do it again. Okay, so Amir Hashem, tomorrow we will conclude this review. We're right on schedule, page 6 to stay halfway. Everyone have a wonderful day.
Excellent.
I know it's going to take 2 seconds.
Sure.